Hello, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. A little bit different. I'm trying some things out. I've got my microphone again. Hopefully it's working. I look alive, right? It does happen on occasion, just not every day. Mom struggles, especially homeschooling mom struggles. Super glad that you're here. Today we are going to be discussing transferring from public school to homeschooling. This is a big thing that a lot of people have questions on, and so I am hoping that my experience, my research can maybe help you. So if you find something useful in this video, please do like, subscribe, stick around. We'd love to have you. So, okay, full disclosure, I have a little cheat sheet, kind of an outline here. Guys, I'm just gonna be real. I can't do this without an outline. I have too many mom hamster wheels, right? Just running all the time. So if you see me kind of glancing over, that's why, okay? All right, so today's topic, transferring from public school to homeschooling. How do you do it? What does it look like? What do you need to know? I can't tell you necessarily everything, but I can give you some of the tips and some of the things that helped me and what my experience was, and maybe that can help you guys get started too. Okay? All right, so you're ready to transfer and you're wondering, where do I start? What do I even need to do? It's a great question, right? Because we have to do things in a certain way, legally speaking. We will actually come back to that. Okay, so first you're going to start by looking at what your state requires, okay? Every state is different. I happen to live somewhere that is super relaxed. There are hardly no requirements. Now, depending on how you look at that, that's either a great thing or not so great, right? But the first resource where I started that I want to suggest that you start is this fantastic website. It's actually more than just that, but it is hslda.org. And what you're going to find here is this is a group of lawyers that specialize in every state and what the requirements are. Now, this organization actually provides a whole service, but you don't have to join just to look at their website, just to look at your state's requirements, okay? That's actually where I started because I didn't know any of this yet, but I'm hoping that my research, my experience in this video can help you so that you don't have to fumble through it like I did. Okay, so that's my first recommendation, and I'm going to link that down in the description box for you. But the second resource, okay, is to just Google your state and then Department of Education, okay? That's going to be the most straightforward thing. So if you happen to live in, say, Nebraska, okay, you are going to Google Nebraska Department of Education website, and it's going to come up, and you have to dig for it. No state wants to make this easy for you. It's just the truth. We won't get into that today though, but Google it, find your state, find the Department of Education site for your state. The requirements are listed. It's a legal issue. It has to be. So for my state, it was all right there. There were only 3 different things that I had to do. Super simple, okay? So you're gonna do that. You have to know what your state requires so that legally you cover all your bases. Very important, okay? Once you do this, you are ready to then put those steps into action. My state, what I had to do was I had to register, which means I had to create a name for my school, and I had to register with my state as a non-accredited private school. So my homeschool has a name, it is registered with the state, and they categorize it as a non-accredited private school. So that, and then I have to school for 180 days out of the year minimum. And that's it. I meet my state's requirements. So hopefully your state is not too difficult, but you have to start by knowing what the requirements are. After you've researched your state's rules and you know what you need to do, it's time to notify your child's school, right? So each state has to account for where your child is learning, where they're being educated. So you have to notify your public school of your intent to withdraw. And they're going to say, great, where are they going? They have to know. They have to notify the state so that the state knows that you're meeting the requirements to provide an education for your child. So you tell them, I'm transferring to homeschooling. Now, in my state, I then had to provide my daughter's school with the letter from the state. It was actually an email. The whole thing took less than 5 minutes, no kidding. But I digress. My state is super easy. So I just had to provide them with the letter from the state showing the name of my homeschool and that we were registered legally with the state. And that's it. I had to provide them with that. They said, okay, check. This is where she's going to school. And they withdrew her. It was that simple. We were done. So I hope your process is that simple. I hope the school is friendly, encouraging, accommodating. Mine was not. It was difficult. But again, I knew enough at the time to know that it was just their opinion, that there wasn't anything legally wrong with what I was doing. So reiterate that, research your state's requirements first. So if you get some judgmental looks, comments, or any kind of pushback, friendly, passive aggressive, or otherwise, mine was or otherwise, you know that you're fine. That's important. That's empowering, and I cannot recommend it enough. Okay, so now that we know what the requirements are, you've done that and you've notified the child's school, right? You have to start then looking at various curriculums. This is what I wish I had known before I started. Okay, my daughter was leaving public school 3rd grade. So I assumed, my fault, right? I assumed that I would be looking at level 4 or grade 4 for any curriculum or subject that she needed. I didn't know any better. Well, no. So I'm just going to tell myself right away. I live in a small area. As it turns out, the public school curriculum is probably considered behind for other larger areas. I'm from a huge city, one of the largest in the country. My curriculum, what I assumed they were doing for school here, so different. So your area matters, okay? So I ordered all of this curriculum in level 4, and it came and I looked through it, and about half of it, just for fun, right? Flipping through it with my daughter, and she's like, Mom, I did this in like 1st grade. Knew it. And then there were some things where she looked at me like a deer in headlights, like I have no clue what they're talking about. So what I found, what I wished I had known before, that I'm going to make sure you know right now, websites, okay? Regardless of the curriculum that you choose, go to the website. There are ways to assess placement, quizzes, quick little testing, things for you to know what level per that one company, per that one curriculum, even per that one subject. I'm going to actually come back to that next, where your child needs to be. Because most kids transferring from the public school system, you're going to find what I found. And this is the part that I think is so important that we just didn't realize, and you might not either. So, for example, language arts in the curriculum that we chose, the good and the beautiful, she is at level 4. So had I put her in level 4, she would have been bored and miserable all next year. She already knows and has mastered. Mastery is the key, by the way. When you transfer from public school to homeschooling, you may have to, for that first year, purchase or borrow multiple levels, right? Like a level 3 and a level 4, because they might be somewhere in the middle. We ended up finding that with my daughter a lot, okay? But so it turns out she's actually ready for their version of level 5. But had I chosen, any one of the other bajillion language arts curriculums from other companies that I looked at, she might have needed level 2, level 5. Speaking of level 2, guys, Abeka, it's an amazing curriculum, but it is advanced if your child has been in a public school setting, most likely. My daughter is very bright. She's considered advanced for her age. So when we were originally looking at Abeka, I was shocked to see that she would have been in level 2, grade 2. Level 2, guys. So I cannot emphasize this enough. Check placement, check little quizzes, little placement tests, not only per the curriculum, but per subject, right? My daughter can read at a much more advanced level than what she can do math in, right? Her spelling, her reading, basically her language arts, she is accelerated. Her math, right at her expected level or grade. So it's just important to know so that you don't get frustrated, your child doesn't get frustrated, right? And you don't get discouraged. So best piece of advice that I can give you is that pay attention to the placements so that you don't waste your money, you don't waste your sanity, you don't waste your child's sanity. Extremely important. Okay, next piece of advice, research, look into deschooling. Have you guys heard of that? Deschooling? I had no idea. What do you mean deschooling? It is so important, okay? I'm just going to give you just a real quick little blurb about it, but research it for sure. Okay, when you are deschooling, your child has been used to, a very strict certain way of learning, right? Sitting, classroom, a very controlled environment, academic setting where they have to go at the pace of the masses, not just your child. So deschooling is invaluable because you want your child, the goal is for them to become a lifelong learner, okay? So the process of deschooling, you set the formal academics aside if you can for a time, okay? The time is different depending on what your child needs. Some kids may need several weeks, several months. Other kids, can do it pretty quickly. It just depends on your child's unique personality and need base, and maybe even yours. So you want to spend this time though, right, without the formal academics and really spend it on, sort of shifting that mindset, where the way that you learn, the place that you learn is, sitting at a desk with a pen and paper and a textbook, right? You want to shift that mindset now to you're creating a lifelong learner. You can learn anywhere doing anything. Your everyday activities, cleaning, cooking, working in the garden, going on walks, working on the vehicles, right? Maintaining your home, running errands, maintaining a schedule, self-care, all these things now become learning opportunities. And it gives you a chance to not only learn how your child learns best, what type of learner they are, but it also helps kind of shed that mindset, that mentality that you can only learn in one structured setting. Go to the zoo, go to the library, take a trip if you can, and find ways to engage teaching and learning in everyday things and moments. Deschooling is so worth your time. It will save you so much frustration and pushback later for most kids and most families. Check it out, guys. Okay. I did find a resource actually for deschooling that I'm going to leave below in the description box. Last tip, and we're going to wrap this up. So last suggestion is search your area for resources. Guys, anybody that tells you that homeschooling is not a challenge and difficult, they're just more patient than me, maybe. No, they're sorry. I've never heard it. So my advice is get yourself a support system, okay? Spend a little bit of time. Check your area. Guys, there are resources there where you are, okay? The ones that everybody knows about, co-ops, okay? But then you have clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, 4-H, what's the other one, Amber? FFA, if your child is older, okay? Then of course there are sports, right? There are sports teams, there are music classes, there are things like that. And then I think an underrated resource is Facebook and Facebook groups. If you get onto Facebook, right, and you search, say you live in, a town called Millens, okay, and you search Millens homeschool group, you would be surprised. There might be several homeschool groups right in your area that are going to connect you with people. Your new best friend could be waiting on you, okay? But the key is support. We cannot do this by ourselves. Your child needs socialization, interaction. But guess what, guys? Everybody knows that. Every homeschooling parent knows that. What do we all hear? Well, aren't you worried about socialization? We all know that. But I think something that we all forget is we need socialization too. Guys, you have days where you don't want to do it, or you're frustrated or you're struggling, and to have a group of amazing moms or women and men that understand that struggle and that can support you and can help you get through those difficult times is going to make this way more successful for you and for your child. And that really is the whole point. I want you to succeed. I want your child to succeed. I want you to love this. So get support in advance. Research your area. There are so many more resources available to you than co-ops. And if you didn't catch my last video, I actually talk about co-ops and why they're not for me. We're going to do secular homeschooling, but check out that video. But yeah, guys, get the support. Find clubs, find ways for you and your child to get out, to socialize, to be around other people that are going through the same things, that are doing the same things, so that you have support, people to bounce curriculum ideas off of. Let me tell you, curriculums are not one size fits all, and you can look at it, you can love it, your child can think that they're going to love it, and you get halfway through it and you think, this is terrible, I don't want to do this. And it helps so much to have this group of people that have been doing this longer that can say, hey, you know what? This is that style of learning. My child actually really did great with this. Have you looked at this? It is such a valuable resource. So find those things for you and your child. You will not regret it, because I don't care how much you love your home, eventually you need out of your house. You do. You need a break. So, okay, that is all the tips that I have for you today. I hope this video helps you, feel like you can do this, like you can get started. I hope it takes some of the stress off for you. That was my entire goal. If you have any tips that I missed, I'm sure there are plenty. Leave them in the comments below. We can all learn from each other, because after all, that is what we're all here for, right? So, all right, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. And again, if you heard something that you liked, if you heard something you didn't like, let me know. Give me a like, give me a dislike, give me a comment. Just let me know. Subscribe, stick around, and come back for the next video. Bye.